And after Okarun suffers from unpleasant psychic interference, he simply loses control and starts attacking Jiji, who falls to the ground like a sack of potatoes. But Jiji isn't one to stay down for long. He pops right back up and throws Okarun against a wall, probably hoping a good bonk would knock some sense back into him. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Okarun just gets even crazier, trying to turn himself into a human pincushion with a shard of glass. Jiji, being the good friend he is, disarms him and tells him to chill out. Just when you think it can't get any weirder, the worm, yes, that's its official name now, decides to join the party and threatens to attack them. Jiji, quick on his feet, throws a cup across the room. And what do you know? The worm attacks the cup. Seeing this, Jiji, our resident Sherlock Holmes, figures out that this creepy crawler is only reacting to sounds that vibrate near the house. So, basically, it's deaf to their voices, but super sensitive to a dropped mug. Talk about selective hearing. Meanwhile, Okarun is still trying to reenact a horror movie scene with the glass shard. Jiji, always the hero, stops him again. And this is where it gets dark. Okarun, in his messed up state, speaks for the first time, begging Jiji to just let him die. Yikes. But wait, there's more. Momo, not wanting to be left out of the self-harm party, starts losing it too and tries to kill herself with a glass shard. Jiji, bless his soul, tries to stop her, but Okarun, now surprisingly strong, holds him back. Momo manages to stab something, but instead of her own belly, she accidentally stabs Grandma Turbo. Grandma Turbo, being the absolute legend she is, just stands there, completely unfazed, wondering what the heck is going on. Jiji, ever the polite one, praises her quick reflexes, but still asks if she's okay. She, in turn, tells Jiji to get his act together and suggests he tie Okarun up with some nearby tape. Jiji, apologizing profusely, does as he's told, and then Grandma Turbo, with a glint in her eye, says he needs to tie Momo up too. And just like that, our two protagonists are hogtied. What a day, huh? Jiji, now completely confused, asks what the heck is going on. Grandma Turbo, always the wise one, deduces that Okarun and Momo are suffering from psychic interference, courtesy of the divine worm. Apparently, this worm thingy is trying to make everyone in the house commit self-deletion, and just like that, a light bulb goes off in Jiji's head. He remembers his parents died the same way, ending their own lives. So, he realizes they weren't just victims of unfortunate accidents, they were murdered by this very same creature. He then wonders why he's perfectly fine and not suffering from these psychic attacks. Grandma Turbo, with a look that screams, "Are you serious right now?" Зрение не может поверить, что он еще не понял. Suddenly, Momo goes full telekinesis mode, sending glass shards flying everywhere. Then, she aims one right at her neck, ready to end it all. But Jiji, being the quick-thinking hero he is, saves her just in time, putting his arm in the path of the glass. He then scoops up everyone and makes a mad dash out of the house, friends tucked under his arm like precious cargo. Outside, Jiji keeps running until he trips on some stairs, falling to the ground. He looks up to see Okarun and Momo planning to jump off the building. He rushes to save them, practically begging them to snap out of it. While he's trying to bring his friends back to their senses, Jiji is ambushed by the divine worm, which stares at him with an aura so terrifying it could curdle milk. In the midst of all this chaos, Okarun and Momo miraculously snap back to normal with no idea how. Momo immediately asks Jiji to untie them. Okarun, meanwhile, sees a man in front of them and figures he's the one who saved them. When this mysterious being turns his face towards them without moving his body, creepy, right? Everyone freaks out. Grandma Turbo, always the protector, tells everyone to avert their gaze from this creature because he's none other than the Evil Eye, a being that controls anyone who looks directly into his eyes, making them commit self-deletion. They then notice the divine worm has been paralyzed for some time. Okarun, seeing his chance, transforms and prepares to attack the creature, taking advantage of its helplessness. He manages to cut off the divine worm's head, but then, poof, another one grows back in its place. So, it goes back to attacking everyone. As Jiji runs, he realizes that the one responsible for his parents' death wasn't the worm, but the evil eye. And just like that, Jiji finds himself face to face with the evil eye, looking directly into its eyes. And that's when he gets a vision. Jiji sees a strange boy trapped in a cell, watching 3 children playing outside, unable to join them. Days turn into weeks, and the boy receives his sentence: to burn to death, tied to a tree trunk. As the flames lick at him, the child laments never having the chance to play with those 3 children, not even once. The next day, after the execution, a group of people watch the boy from afar, realizing he's still moving, even after being completely charred by the fire. When he tries to interact with other children, the charred boy realizes he's seen as a ghost by others, but only children can see him. Adults, of course, explain to their children that ghosts don't exist and are just figments of their imagination. The dead child starts dancing irreverently, trying to calm the child, but he ends up scaring her even more, and then a light starts shining beneath his feet, leaving the dead child confused. Suddenly, the boy's parents kill themselves after being overcome by some mysterious force. With his parents dead, the child is left helpless. Then, Mrs. Kito decides to sink the house with the boy, aiming to protect the village. The dead child tries to untie the other child, who's tied to a chair, waiting for death. But since he's a ghost, he can't do anything. And ever since, the child becomes an evil being, seeking only revenge against anyone within his reach, making everyone kill themselves. Back to Momo, she notices Jiji with a strange look in his eyes. She remembers they're not in a condition to fight that creature, so Momo tries to get the monster off him, but Jiji warns her that the creature isn't evil, but rather someone who has suffered all this time. And with that, Jiji runs with the creature to where its body was. Momo, meanwhile, is completely perplexed. Jiji reassures the monster, saying he'll find a way to free him. He then heads to the cell where the evil eye resided in life, and upon opening the door, he discovers the child was trapped there all that time, which moves him. Jiji starts approaching the evil eye, but Grandma Turbo tries to call him back, telling Jiji not to get too close to that being. After all, he's still a yokai who makes people commit suicide, but Jiji corrects her, explaining that the evil eye is actually a person, just like him, even if he looks completely different. Grandma Turbo retorts that this being is definitely not like them. Seeing them argue, Momo tries to calm them down, telling them to stop fighting. Suddenly, the divine worm hits the spot where everyone is with a sticky goo. Faced with this complicated situation, Momo asks Grandma Turbo about her luck ability, believing it's not working for them. However, Grandma Turbo reminds her that her luck isn't hers. It might have gone to the enemy. So Momo ditches that fake ability and asks about Okarun. He replies, but says he can't move his body. And Momo also notices that Jiji is in a complicated situation too. He's suffering from the same paralysis as Okarun, and then he receives another vision of the evil eye when he was alive. So he apologizes to the boy for hating him all this time. After all, he didn't know the pain he was feeling. Suddenly, the child starts whispering something to him. Jiji gets startled and goes to the child to see what he's saying, and discovers the child is asking to play with him. Seeing this, Jiji decides to grant his wish, and says he'll play with him for as long as it takes. As soon as the entity hears this, it starts controlling Jiji. Grandma Turbo calls Jiji an idiot, and says she warned him from the beginning that that child was evil. As for the divine worm, it regains control of its own body. It then tries to attack Momo, but the evil eye saves her while controlling Jiji's body, and says his goal now that he's conquered that body is to kill all humans. Seeing this, Momo tries to talk to him, calling him Jiji, but the creature attacks her, showing he's not on her side. Then, the evil eye starts showing interest in Momo, saying she has a strange power. As for Grandma Turbo, she starts cursing at him, telling him to chill out. But seeing that she's a yokai who's on the human side, the evil eye deduces that she's become their slave. Momo then tries to talk to him again, as if he were Jiji, asking where his silly side went. The being then pushes Momo even harder against the wall and informs her that Jiji no longer exists. After all, he's become his host. Hearing this, Momo still finds it strange, so Grandma Turbo explains that Jiji was the holder of a rare spiritual leader, besides having excellent physical condition. Thus, Jiji becomes practically the ideal host for any yokai. That said, she tells Momo to face reality and understand once and for all that Jiji is no longer on their side. Suddenly, the evil eye attacks Momo again, but Okarun steps in front of them and clashes with the evil eye. He then promises to finish that being to avenge what he did to Momo. Seriously, you gotta be pretty dense to fall for a yokai sweet talk, and if you want to see what happens next, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll bring you the continuation.